There's a building I go to just about every day, and it's 11 stories high. One day it just dawned on me, why am I taking the elevator? And so I just started taking the stairs, and the first week I was huffing and puffing by the time I got to the top, to the 11th floor. And as the weeks went by, it became a little bit easier to get to the top without the heavy breathing. And I just asked myself, why did I even take the elevator all those days? Why didn't I begin taking the stairs? And the simple answer is it's easier. It's just simply easier to take the elevator. Easier how? It's easier in the short term. In the long term, maybe it's not so easy. Maybe because the lack of exercises causes a multitude of diseases. The lack of exercises causes you to feel not so good about yourself, not so healthy, depressed, down. I know when I exercise, my whole emotional and mental outlook completely changes. That's why when I do coaching, one of the questions I often ask is, how often do you exercise? Exercise, it's amazing. You just do some exercise and you can heal so many emotional uh, doldrums, the emotional doldrums. But that's not what this video is about. What I found is that one of the things that really causes immense spiritual, emotional, psychological suffering is short-term gain for long-term pain. And that so often the decisions we make on a daily basis, seemingly insignificant decisions we make, we are short-sighted in our outlook and we are unable to see the cumulative effect of me taking the elevator every day. Oh, maybe I'm gaining a little bit of weight. I'm not exercising enough. And this is rampant throughout our society, is this laziness. It's a mental laziness that we have, and in which it becomes easier to turn over our decision making process to, if you want to call it, some people it's a higher power, it's God. God rules my life and God is going to make all the decisions. For other people, it's the government. The government is going to make my decisions. For others, it's family. And for most of us, it's whatever the mainstream society feels and what will garner me the most approval. This is our subconscious and sometimes conscious decision-making process. Is we give over the reins, the destiny, the control of our life into the hands of others. And when you ask most people on the street and you say, do you know that you give your life, your freedom, your decisions, your destiny, your path over to the hands of others every day? Do you think people say, oh yeah, we think they'll acknowledge that they've kind of given up the reins and decided to take the elevator? No, most people say, no, I'm the master of my own domain. I decide my destiny. I make my own decisions. And when in reality, I think the one of the most potent medicines we can take is a self-assessment peppered with honesty, dosed with honesty, stewing in honesty. And it's hard because the ego is a mighty force which doesn't want to look bad, which doesn't want to be diminished. And if we really do a real honest self-assessment, I think the ego would not like the results. And I've been involved with many different uh, pursuits, spiritual pursuits, dietary pursuits, and I've gone the route of black or white thinking and extremism and this is the right way and very dogmatic approach. And I always wondered why, and it was just rampant. When I was involved in church, it was just rampant that people followed the leader, the pastor. People followed what the book said, what the Bible said. They just blindly followed. Followed what the government said, followed what their parents said, followed what their friends say. And A big one is that really doesn't get enough notice is the invisible influence of culture and society. That based on where you're born is probably half of the shape and formation of your personality. And that often, because it's so invisible, it's all around us. Everybody's acting the same in a certain way. Everybody talks the same way. If you're born in England, you talk with an English accent. You're born in the States, you talk with an American accent. But moving beyond accents, it's amazing how much our culture and what we see on television and media and all these things influences and determines who we are without even our consent. It's just a subliminal force that puts its stamp upon our lives, upon our soul. And we just kowtow and say, so be it. That's the way everybody else is. I'm going to conform. It's easier, and let's just roll with that. And why? I always like to know why. Why? I always ask why. Why? Why do we do this? The path of least resistance. Because it's human nature to be lazy. And it's human nature to thinking is work. You know, sometimes when I've had jobs that were really intensive thinking, jobs that demanded, a lot of mental acuity, I would come home more exhausted than jobs that I had where I had to exert physical energy. Thinking for yourself takes work, takes effort, takes risks, takes courage, because if you screw up, you have no one to blame. You're culpable. It's your responsibility. And it's just so much easier for someone else to say, think for me. And that's why many people love the military or fraternities or religious groups or Republican Party, the Democrat Party. Someone else does the thinking for them. And I just need to find out, well, what do they believe? What does the Pope say? What do these leaders in charge say? And I just follow. Okay, it's easier. But again, another thing I always like to ask is why and what's the cost? Everything has a cost. What is the cost? And I think the cost is, I get emails or comments because I'm always talking about find out who you are and then be true. First, the first step is finding who you are, and the second step is having the courage, the balls to live in accordance with your true nature, with who you really are. That takes a lot of courage. And I think the problem is at what cost most people we don't know who we are. I mean, that's a common theme that I'll get. How can I do all the things you talk about in your videos? Be true to myself, follow my inner compass, listen to my intuition. I don't even know who I am. And I think that is society at large, or the powers that be, their greatest weapon is they, under the guise of making things easy for you, they tell you, and again, this is not written anywhere, it's so subliminal, it's so effective. They tell you who to be, what to think, how to act, what to wear, what to eat, what job to get, to go to universities, to have 2.5 kids, to get a mortgage, to get a car. I mean, all this is really pre-programmed from the moment you're born. And we just submit. Most of us just submit. Why? It's easy. I don't have to think. Remember, thinking takes a mental exertion. I mean, even as much as I love Eckhart Tolle, as much as I love him, when I made a video, which some things I didn't agree necessarily with him, there were people that would leave comments, how dare you? What's wrong with you? It's your ego that's criticizing him. he if you don't realize what a great person he is, there's something wrong with you. I mean, that was the general sense from some of the comments and emails I got. And man, here it goes again. It's just this, we tend to intertwine our ego with superficial things, with fleeting things, with things that maybe in one period of our lives or in the history of time was true, but as people evolved, as philosophy has evolved, as understanding of right and wrong evolved, those modes of thinking became outdated. And yet during that time, people were convinced what they believed was right because their ego was attached to it. And so what I'm saying is withdraw your ego from all things superficial. Really, the only thing that I can know is true is what's within me. If someone says, hey, this is true, okay, well, let me examine it myself. No, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that as a culture. We don't want to do that as society. We want to be spoon-fed. That's why Fox News is so popular. Just tell me who to like, tell me what not to like, tell me who to fear. It's just plain and simple. It's just the path of least resistance. And I'll say this, nothing worthwhile or monumental in life did not meet severe resistance at the onset. And the greatest gift that we can give our children, that we can give our loved ones, that we can give our circle or sphere of influence, our friends, our family, is the gift of courage. Is the gift of courage to be so true to yourself that you walk through a line of people spitting on you, scoffing at you, mocking you, telling you how you're a loser, telling you you're wrong, telling how ridiculous you are. You walk through that line of people and you pay them no mind and you keep your eye set on the target at the end of that line. The people that really accomplish greatness are the people that were so their eye was so focused on that target, and there was such a strong conviction that who they were, what they believed was right, that the line of people castigating them did not deter them from their target. It's almost like there was a magnetic force drawing them to their destiny or to their goal. We don't have to accomplish great things. And change the world and create magnificent things and earn lots of money to live a worthwhile life. The greatest joys I get are not in these grand accomplishments. The greatest joys is the everyday, seemingly insignificant situations that would have passed me by had I not learned to just be in the present, be here in this moment, be here now, and be true to myself. I find my happiness or my contentment or my peace rises and falls to the same degree that I'm true to myself. Someone tells me they like me, they think this is great or what I did there was great. That is a short-term high. And it's like a drug. You get a short-term high, but at what cost? And what sustains people, and what I find sustains people that have a strong sense of self-awareness, is being true to themselves and following their inner compass. So the next time you have a choice between the elevator or the stairs, take the stairs.